Hey everyone, Bink here from BINKSFARM. Welcome to a brand new series that we're going to be diving into today. Since the release of Farming Simulator 25, I've had quite a few viewers comment and request that I create some tutorials on how I go about setting up Courseplay and AutoDrive for my video series. So today, we're going to be starting a new tutorial series that will eventually cover everything there is to know about both Courseplay and AutoDrive. Now instead of just making one long video, I decided to break things up a bit, which will hopefully make things a bit easier to understand. Today's episode will be covering the bare bones of the Courseplay mod, how to get it installed, and how to set up some of the most basic functions. I see quite a few people out there that seem to get a bit overwhelmed by these mods, and I totally understand it, as I was in the same boat many years ago when these mods first came out for Farming Simulator. But in my opinion, once the basics of each mod are understood, everything else seems to come together much easier. So hopefully, this series will help break that overwhelmingness a bit and help some of you give these amazing mods a try for the very first time. For some of you more experienced or advanced users, these first couple episodes may seem a bit redundant, but it may also not hurt to brush up on some of the simple and basic functions. I do have a list of episodes that I'd like to cover throughout the series, so hopefully whether you're a first timer or a seasoned veteran, there'll be something in the series for everyone to learn. In this first video of the series, we'll be focusing on Courseplay. I'm going to try and keep things as basic as I possibly can. I'll be showing this off on a base game map, which is Riverbend Springs. And we'll also stick to using base game equipment, so we don't run into any issues with mods that may not function properly. Also picked out a nice square field with no obstacles or collisions inside of the fields or near the field edges, so we shouldn't run into any problems. Now, before we get started on setting up our very first course, first thing I'd like to cover is how to install the Courseplay mod. We'll start off in the mod hub, as you can actually download the latest official release of Courseplay directly from the mod hub, in-game. And the current version that's officially released is version 8.1.0.0. If you head into your Farming Simulator 25 game, click Downloadable Content, and then click Search, which is towards the bottom, or you can also press C to bring up the search bar. Once you have your search bar up, just type in Courseplay. And it should be the first mod that pops up. Now I've already got mine installed, so mine will give me the uninstall option, where if you don't have it installed, you'll be able to click install right down here at the bottom, and it'll download the mod. And once you have it installed, all you need to do is start up your save game and make sure that you have the Courseplay mod enabled. The second option for downloading this mod would be to download it directly from the GitHub page, and this would definitely be for the more advanced users. If you download Courseplay directly from the GitHub page, you'll get the latest unofficial version, which will give you access to a few more features, but it may also come with a few bugs, as the Courseplay team usually tends to update and add to this mod quite frequently, but they only release an official version once all of the bugs are polished. So if you'd like to not have anything to worry about, your safest bet is to just grab the latest official release directly from the mod hub. I'll make sure to leave a link to the Courseplay GitHub page in the description of the video in case there's anyone looking to try out that version. Now that we've got the Courseplay installed and enabled, let's jump back into the game and start diving into the mod itself. Alright, now that we've got Courseplay installed and enabled in our save game, all we need to do is just jump into a tractor and we'll be able to open up the user interface that allows us to change our settings and create courses. So let's jump into our tractor here. Now once you're in a vehicle, you can either press the delete key to bring up Courseplay, or you can also press right click on your mouse and that will also bring up the Courseplay menu. Now at first glance here, you've got a few different settings. You've got your tractor name right up at the top. That'd be the Versatile 365. It's showing that we'll do field work with the implement that's hooked up to it currently. Now you've got a setting here that you can change. It's currently set to nearest waypoint on default. You can switch it to first waypoint. You can switch it to last waypoint. Here would be where it shows the course that you currently have saved or generated through Courseplay. You've got your work width here that currently shows 12 meters, and anytime you hook up an implement, it's going to normally auto detect the width of what you've got attached to your tractor. So currently it's at 12 meters. That's exactly where we'd want it with the Kinsey Mocktail, but you can adjust this if you'd like. If you decrease it a little bit, you'll see these red lines pop up. Like so. There's a better, it kind of shows the box behind it there. But we'll keep it right at 12 meters for now, because that's exactly what the Kinsey Mocktail work width is. We'll switch to first waypoint. That's what I usually like to start a course on. And now we'll click no course, which will bring up your fieldwork settings. The map, it'll show the field that you're beside. Now if you go into fieldwork settings, this is where you've got most of the different settings that you can adjust before generating the course. So you've got your work width again, which we just went over. Now here's a new one, number of headlands. You can leave it at 0, you can switch it to 1, but I usually like to throw on 1 or 2 headlands. You could go more than that if you'd like. Now once you add headlands to your course, it creates another option, which determines where your vehicle will start working on the course. Whether it'll start with the headlands or it'll start with the center and do the headlands last. With the Kinsey Mocktail, we'll set it to start work on the center. Moving down the list, we've got more headland settings. The first one being sharpen headland corners. This basically determines whether your tractor is going to just round the corner or if he's going to do a turn maneuver, so that way he can turn, reverse, and drop his implement so he doesn't miss anything on the corners. Now even with this setting added, you can still adjust the number of round corners. So if you're doing multiple headlands, you could set that to 0 and make it so that all the headlands are squared up with a turn maneuver. Or you could have it set to 1, which would mean the first headland would be rounded and any headlands beyond that would not be rounded. They'd be done with a turn maneuver. Corner radius just changes the radius of the rounded corners. Headland direction. Normally this is left on clockwise, but you could change it to counterclockwise if you were running a sugar beet harvester and the auger was on the other side or something like that. But that, again, that's a bit more of an advanced setting that we'll dive into in a later episode. And here again, going further, we've got field center. There's a lot of different options there, but for now we're just going to keep it on up and down, which is going to be your most simple setting. And even further down, we've got island bypass settings and stuff like that. All stuff that we'll get into in the more advanced episodes. But for now, we're going to leave our work width at 12 meters. Our number of headlands we'll set at 2. We'll start work on center. And everything else, I think we're going to leave exactly how it is for now. Now, we're actually not able to generate our course yet, because if you see, hard to see because the tractor's in the way, but you're normally going to be looking for a white line around the field that you're trying to work in. If the field you're trying to generate a course for doesn't already have a white line around it, then Courseplay doesn't know which field you're actually trying to generate a course for. So to do this, you can either manually drop a target position and a field position, but that's a lot more complicated than I'd like to show today. So to make this much simpler, what we'll do is back out of Courseplay just by hitting the escape key a few times. We'll even close down our Courseplay menu for now. And let's just drive our tractor inside of the field a little bit here. Actually, we'll even turn around and we'll face them in this direction. Now, actually, where you park your tractor before generating a course determines quite a few things with how the course generates and the direction of the headlands and a few different variables. But for now, we'll just keep it simple. Open back up our Courseplay menu, go into fieldwork settings, all the stuff that we changed before, still the same, work width 12, number of headlands 2, start work on center. And we're just going to go down here and we're going to click Generate Fieldwork Course. Okay, and as you can see, The course has now been generated for the field that we're sitting on. The starting point is exactly where our tractor sits in the field now. And let's jump out of Courseplay now, and we'll head back to the field. Now, we've got a few other settings inside of this little window here that I'd like to go over. Mainly the eye. Currently, the eye is set to yellow, which means you're only going to see the starting point of your course, which is that right there. That's the very first point of your course. So if you, right now, click the play button, your tractor would automatically turn around and start heading towards that first waypoint to start working the course, because we have first waypoint set right here. Now if you went to nearest waypoint and you click this eye one more time, it would be blue, which shows you about 20-25 points of your route. But if you click it even one more time beyond that, it brings it to the green eye, which shows your entire course that you just generated for the entire field. So now that we're set on nearest waypoint, if I were to click play right now, it would pretty much start working where the tractor sits, as there's a waypoint just in front of him, so he would probably reach for that waypoint and start working. But that's not where we want him to start working today. So let's head over to our first waypoint here. And get ourselves positioned here a little better. And all we're going to do is just click the play button. After we switch this back to first waypoint, and all we're going to do is click the play game button. As you can see, he starts unfolding the implement. He's going to lower the cultivator, and away he goes. You'll see down here that he's currently on the third waypoint, and it's going to keep going up as he works his way through the course. Now we have a time up here that shows us 7 minutes 9 seconds until he completes the entire course. And that's pretty much it. He's going to keep going until he reaches the end. Now because we set this up on work center first, he'll work these center rows, and then he'll move on and do the headlands at the end. Turn around here completely on his own. And just like that. And as you can see, he's going to just keep working up and down the field, following the course. And now, if you find that you've got fields that, say, have a lot of trees around the hedges or the headlands, this is where you're going to want to start to focus more on the number of headlands you want to put on the field. As you can see here, when he's turning, he actually stays pretty much inside of, he stays well inside the field here with 2 headlands. It all really comes down to the size of the implement that you're using, maybe on bigger cultivators, seeders, sprayers, stuff like that. You're going to want to add maybe a 3rd or a 4th headland in case there's obstacles like trees or buildings around the outside of your field, just to make sure that he doesn't get caught when turning around on the course. Now we'll let him keep going here a little bit, and once he gets down to the end, actually, you know what, let's stop him right here. As I'd like to point out something that I find, it's something that I've even, I didn't know for the longest time, but I find it's a really useful feature. Now, if let's say you weren't cultivating and this was actually a seeder and you had to go and refill him every few passes or something like that. Now you can actually use this feature down here, which we used right off the bat, and we had set it to first waypoint. Now you could set it to nearest waypoint, and he would start working right here. He'd start working right under the closest point in the course that the tractor is parked beside. But you could also stop him, and since we just worked that spot right there, Courseplay remembers that that was the last point this tractor had just worked at. So if we move him way over here and switch this to last waypoint, he will actually lift up his implement and head right over to that last waypoint that he remembers working at and continue working on from there. So if you needed to pull your sprayer, your seeder off the field to take it over to a tender trailer on the side of the field, get them refilled, you could actually just set it to last waypoint and then click play again, and your tractor will drive itself right over to the last point that it remembers working on the course. And we'll see him do that right here. He'll get himself turned around, start unfolding the implement. And just like that, he's right back over to the same spot that he just stopped working at. Now you can either manually stop the course, or the worker could stop it himself if he runs out of seed or runs out of fertilizer or whatever. It'll be the same result in both scenarios. Now here's the next thing I'd like to point out in this video. As you can see, he's doing a rounded corner right here, which does kind of work for that corner because it is rounded. But as you see, we're going to come up to this next headland here, and it's more of a squared corner. So if he follows the course and does a rounded corner, he's actually going to miss a little chunk of the field here. But there's an easy way to fix this in the course generation. So if you check out this button right here, right beside the I that I mentioned earlier, this button will actually remove a course that you already have generated. So we'll click that to get rid of the course that we currently have. Switch that back to, we'll switch it to nearest waypoint. We'll go to no course to generate a new one. And as you can see, we're still inside the field, so our white line around the border of the field is still there. We'll go into our fieldwork settings, and it still remembers all the settings that we just changed for. And we'll go down to the headland settings. Our sharpen headland corners is activated, but we have one rounded corner, which means the first headland of any field that we generate is going to be rounded. Now if we turn that to 0 and generate our fieldwork course, now those corners will actually be squared up. So when he gets to the corner, he'll stop, lift his implement, turn around, back up, drop his implement, so that way he doesn't miss anything in the field. So let's give that a try. We'll just head down to this corner here. And we'll click. We've already got it set to nearest waypoint, so we'll just start him right here and see what he does. As you see, he'll drive right up to the end here, lift his implement, back up a bit, turn the tractor, and back right up to the edge of the field here. Now this does work really good with the current implement that we hooked up. There might be certain scenarios, if you're running a big air seeder where you've got the toolbar and the air cart, your Courseplay worker won't like backing that up with the double implements on the back. So you're probably better off to just leave rounded corners for bigger implements like that. But if you're just running something like this, you should have no problems having your workers back right into the corner. As you can see, he'll do it here again. Turn around. And just like that, he backs right up and he gets everything. And there we go. That's pretty much it. That gives you your basic fieldwork courses that you can use for most implements like cultivators, plows, seeders, sprayers, anything like that. At the end of the day, it's honestly really easy to get this set up on a basic level like we just did. And like I said, in the next videos, we'll cover some more advanced techniques and different settings that you can jump into. But for now, I'd like to just keep it basic and keep these videos short and to the point. So So yeah, hopefully this helps somebody out, and yeah, thanks for watching. Appreciate the support. If you guys are looking forward to this Courseplay and auto drive tutorial series, let me know in the comments below. Leave a like, subscribe, and let me know if there's anything specific that maybe I missed, or if there's something that you're struggling with, or anything like that. Let me know in the comments, and I'll make sure to either put a video out specifically on it, or make sure to add some tips in the upcoming videos. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.